And that's the game. Alright, so it looks like we navigated this game pretty much perfectly. Hello and welcome, everybody. We are here for match 1 of a new league. This time, we're playing Karn the Great Creator and Amulet again. And today, we're doing something a little bit different. We do have the Hanweir Battlements build of Amulet here in front of us, as opposed to playing the Ancient Stirrings and Boros Garrison and Slayer Stronghold build that we were playing last week. We're back to the trusty Valakut haste plan here. And we're also making a bit of an update, I suppose you might say, to the Amulet mana base. So as you can see here, we are playing a full 6 copies of basic lands, including 3 cool forests and 3 regular forests, of course, in addition to the Windswept Heath. And this has been a strategy that's been popping up in recent Amulet lists. A lot of recent Amulet lists have actually been playing only 3 copies of Dryad and not the 4th, but to be honest, I don't understand that change, so if you know something about it, then go ahead and drop it in the comments below, but I'm going to forgo that for the moment. But what you do see is a typical lowering of the numbers of Castle Garenbrig in order to fit in additional basic lands. I've always been more on the side of 3 basic forests when most lists were playing 4, and now we're up to 6, so we'll see how this goes. It should help us tremendously against the Blood Moon decks, in addition to the fact that we're playing Karn, of course. And yeah, we got 2 caverns in the main board, thanks to the fact that we don't have to run a redundant Sun Home. We've got our Bajuka Bog in the main, and no Ghost Quarter whatsoever in the 75. This is another sort of a radical change to the Amulet shell. I've seen a couple placing lists, maybe just 1 or 2, but recent lists in the 5-0 dumps and in the modern challenges that just eschewed Ghost Quarter entirely, and I am here for it, because Ghost Quarter is not my favorite land in the Amulet deck. Also, I should mention that there's a Walking Ballista here hanging out in the sideboard, as opposed to the 5-mana Sky Sovereign that we used to be playing. And as much as it pains me to make this change, I'm here to test out Walking Ballista and see how it fares. I can definitely see situations where Ballista is a better target to get out of our Karn board than the 5-mana boat. So, yeah, we're just here to see what happens, and I will see you guys in the games. Alright, we are here for our first match. Excited to potentially Karn some people. On the draw, unfortunate. Playing against Taco God 55. A very creative name over there. And we have a Garenbrig hand, which is actually interesting. If only we could play one of these Explorers on turn 2, then I think this hand could be a keep. We do have a fetch land, a breeding pool, and 6 basic lands to draw towards to let us play Explorer on turn 2. Also a Hanweir and a Radiant Fountain. That's not a whole lot of hits. And otherwise, our hand is kind of slow here. That said, I think it's probably worth it to go ahead and keep this hand and be a turn slow. If we do hit one of those untapped lands off the top, or an Amulet even, then our hand speeds up quite significantly, and that should be a good outcome for us. Especially if our opponent's playing basic islands in their deck, then this hand is going to be very good against a basic island deck, so we'll definitely play out the Garenbrig here, so we can top deck any of those non-green producing untapped sources. Oft is great news for us, assuming our opponent is not on Storm. Castle Vantris. Now, that's not one that you see very often. Untapped source. Or a Talari West. That works too, I suppose. We do have 2 Valakuts, so I'm not worried about exposing this one, so I'm just going to go ahead and throw that one out there. Don't want to give our opponent the knowledge that we have Talari West at our disposal here. Definitely not exposing Field of the Dead, if we can avoid that. Celestial Colonnade. Oh my goodness, opponent. Sorry to tell you, but even I am a fan of this card, and it has not aged well. Let's go ahead and just explore here. If our opponent wants to counter it, that's fine. They don't counter it. But we still can't play an additional 1-drop of this turn, sadly, so let's just play out the Talari West and Gruul Turf, I suppose. I don't see a reason not to just play out the field. They can Field of Ruin our Field of the Dead here, and that would be pretty problematic, but exposing our bounce land seems equally as bad, in all honesty, and they do have the Field of Ruin, but I don't know, I would be surprised if they just fired it off immediately. I guess maybe I shouldn't be that surprised, though. If we top deck a basic forest here, we'll get a cool forest, obviously. If we top deck a basic forest here, then we'll be able to actually just slam Titan. But we don't. This is all fine to be expected. We can explore, and then if it resolves, play Dryad by playing by floating a green, playing Rule Turf, picking up the forest, and replaying the forest. That seems like a good move. Sure. They opt. Trying to find a force of negation for our explorer. Oh man. I'm just kidding. They're probably looking for a spell snare. And here we will just go ahead and make the play I was talking about. Get this Dryad into play now. Boom. And we even get to trigger Dryad with this Valcut right here. And I think we might as well get the Breeding Pool into play. Boom. We could have Grazered here for an additional 3 points of damage. That might have been a good play, actually, but... oh well. And now we have Double Titan lying in the wait. We can transmute this Telari West for a Cavern of Souls. Surely we don't have to play around Aether Gust in the main board, right? We have an onboard way to answer some Planeswalker action from our opponent here. Like that one. Yep. And I believe our opponent's just dead. I suppose they could have a land that can cast Path to Exile. They 0 Jace as well, so this means that we can play land 1 for turn, and if they path our Dryad, Summoner's Pact for another Dryad, play another land, and kill the Jace. Might be better than just slamming Titan. Of course, we might be able to haste our Titan here. Actually, I think slamming Titan and threatening the haste... oh, they're just going to path now. Okay. Well, now we get a regular forest. And we haste a Titan and kill his Jace, and things are good. We don't have Field of the Dead, but I think we can manage. Titan. Leaving the red floating, of course. Getting Bounce Land and Hanweir. Playing Hanweir for turn and hasting. Let's get a Simic Growth Chamber here and the Hanweir. We are suffering from the fact that we exposed this Field of the Dead early, but alas, what can you do? And now we can set up a Cavern for our next Titan, and a Bajuka Bog seems to be the play. Yeah, I think that's fine. Naming Giant, of course. And we could play a Grazer here. I don't really see a reason. So, yeah, let's just pass it back. Our opponent has to answer our Titan, and we have an uncounterable Titan coming up. Where do we go from here, though? I think as long as we can stay ahead on the board here, then we'll be fine. Another Valakut. So we have a lot of ammo here for Dryad. I don't think we play anything pre-combat into a potential Cryptic command, so... sure, let's just go ahead and attack. Probably getting Vesuva, copying Valakut, and something. A second Cavern naming Dryad, perhaps? I could definitely see that. Maybe that's going a little too deep, though. There's not much else we can set up here, sadly. I mean, we could get a bounce line picking up Bajuka Bog. I don't hate that. I don't know, the Cavern naming Dryad seems like it's going to be a little more important here. That's what I'm going to go for. Definitely want to type Dryad in this text box, though. Text box. And I can't talk today, can I? And now, do we even do anything here? We could slam a second Titan, and that would be lethal on board, forcing our opponent to either Cryptic Command or Supreme Verdict. I think it's probably worth it to put another Titan into play here. I suppose we can also use a bounce land to transmute Tolari West for a second Summoner's Pact to play around Force of Negation this upcoming turn. So I want to leave Tolari West transmuting mana in play. Let's just tap the Hanweir, I suppose. Oh, wait. We have plenty of mana already floating. What am I doing? That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's already too much mana. Let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Titan. Yeah, I don't think there's a reason to try to go for a Dryad this turn. So I'm just going to cast Titan here. We did have the mana to cast a Dryad and also transmute this turn. So we can get double bounce land here. We can pick up the one of the caverns to ensure that we have Cavern on Dryad this upcoming turn. And the other can pick up our Tolari West so we can transmute it. That seems pretty good. Sure, I'm down for that. We'll get a Growth Chamber here. Alright, float. Pick up the T-West. This one's on Dryad, this one is on Giant. So let's pick up the one on Giant. And let's transmute. Get Summoner's Pact. I don't see a reason to play land for this turn, so... Actually, I guess we already want the Valakut in play. So let's play the other Valakut and pass. We have infinite land drops with this Gruul Turf, essentially, so... Scrying 2 is... I mean, they get to scry 2. We'll see how well that does for them. I guess they could be playing Miracles. Maybe that's why they're playing this Vantress here. It could also indicate a Field of the Dead, but of course our opponent has triple islands over there, so not really sure what that means exactly. Guess we could have Summoners Pacted on their Incept to play around Force also, but that's fine. Alright, combat. They'll Cryptic Tap. I was saying they'll Cryptic Tap. Come on, opponent, you're supposed to go through the motions. There we go. Tap, draw. Let's pact in response to this, so they can't have double force. There's one force. Let's go again. And that's the game. Alright, so it looks like we navigated this game pretty much perfectly. For the sideboarding, what do we want to do? To be honest, I don't know if we have any cards to bring in for this matchup. I can't imagine Rex Sage or any of this type of hate here is going to be good. All of our Karn targets we want in the sideboard. We're a little bit lacking for the control matchup, I would say. Maybe that's a bit of an oversight on this particular list. We could have Dismember for things like Snapcaster Mage or Vanillion Click or something. I'm not really sure exactly what type of build our opponent would be on, though, with Castle Vantress. That indicates to me that they're probably playing Field of the Dead. So I'm not really super interested in Baloth. I think we just run it back. Is that crazy? I mean, surely it's got to be better to have a Baloth than a Grazer, right? I think we want to trim one more Grazer also. Might as well get a Dismember in here, but Dismember might be equally as dead as Grazer, if not worse, so I'm not really super inclined on that one. Yeah. If this Wilt were a Beast Within, we would definitely be bringing that in. Definitely something to consider. I think that about does it for the sideboarding, so let's just submit this and get ready to rumble. We could maybe cut the Radiant Fountain. Yeesh, this hand. I mean, we've got all the mana in the world, and we've got Dryad on turn 3. I don't know, though. I think I want a mulligan. Yep, that's more like it. Definitely keep this. Could bottom the Pact. I don't know if that's going to be great here, though. The Vasila can copy our Growth Chamber to give us maximum rampage. Is that a terminology? The Explorer is going to be fantastic here. Windswept lets us play Amulet on one. Yeesh. Guess we're throwing this Vesuva down the drain. I don't love it, though. I think it's Vesuva, though. Having the natural Bojuka Bog here could be quite useful. Our opponent has mulliganed to 5 cards this game, which is extremely unfortunate for them. They are playing a little bit of a slower controlling deck, so mulliganing heavily impacts them, I would say. Mulligan to 4. Well, I don't want to call it here. That's not really in my personality. But I don't see our opponent realistically winning on 4 cards. Maybe I'll eat those words. I would be happy to, so we can play a real match of Magic here. I lean on turn 1 Sanctuary, which is already a bit questionable. Let's just play out this Forest here. Not Explorer. What am I doing? Amulet. Go. If they have a Forest, they should not use it here because... Or they could just concede. Okay, well... You know... Great match. Definitely don't need to change anything in the sideboard for the control matchup. It's obviously extremely unlosable for us. And, yeah, I'm gonna end the video there. This is Red Face Menace, signing off. Okay, for real, though, clearly our opponent got unlucky in the last game there, if you would even call it a game, and I am terribly sorry for our opponent for their mulligans. I will take the wins, but at the same time, I would have preferred to play a real match, and I'm sure you guys would have preferred to watch a real match, but at the very least, we got a very interesting and dynamic game 1, where Cavernous Souls actually matters. Of course, if our opponent had access to their Aether Gusts that are assuredly in their sideboard, then things would have gone a bit differently that game if they had Aether Gust available, but I don't know. I do feel kind of bad depriving you guys of a game 2, but there's nothing I can do about it, so... We will move on. Maybe we'll play against another control opponent and have a real match then. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about it. Hopefully you enjoyed this or learned something from it. Let me know in the comments how bad I played, how terrible it was, all the different decisions I should have made. I should have been sideboarding in all 3 of my engineered explosives and getting rid of all 3 of these Dryad of the Elysian Groves right here. That's what should have happened, but anyways. Oh goodness, where did they actually go? There they are. Alright, but that's enough craziness. I will see you guys in the next match. This is Red Face Menace, signing off.